So, if you're running an established company, you've probably thought about or even tried a business operating system to get a handle on all the chaos. But there's a problem, a kind of unspoken secret about these frameworks, a hidden dependency that can stop your company from ever really standing on its own 2 feet. And that leads us to the single most important question a leader has to face, whether they know it or not. Are you actually building a company that has its own internal strength, or are you just renting that strength from an outsider? And this quote, wow, this is the dirty secret you hear from so many CEOs a few years into using a standard framework. There's this nagging feeling, like they're checking all the boxes, going through the motions, but the team itself isn't getting any smarter or more capable. It feels like borrowed strength, and they know it. Here's the thing, that feeling is not a mistake. It's often a feature, not a bug, of these systems. We call this the rented operating system, and frankly, it's designed from the ground up to create dependence. Okay, here's a fantastic way to think about it. Imagine you buy the frame, the chassis, of a super high-performance race car. It looks amazing, but there's only one specific mechanic in the world who knows how to tune the engine. So, sure, you'll own the car, but you are forever tied to that one person to keep it on the road. So this really sets up a fork in the road, a fundamental choice between two totally different philosophies. One path builds that dependence we just talked about, while the other is specifically engineered to create independence. Let's really dig into what that looks like. All right, the first approach is what we call renting discipline. This is all about one word, compliance. Did you hold the meeting the right way? Did you fill out the scorecard? Success is just about how well you follow the rules. And you guessed it, you almost always need that external coach to make sure you're staying on track. But then, there's the alternative, owning mastery. Now, this is a completely different ballgame. The focus here is not on following some rule book. It's on building the actual skills and competence of your own leadership team. It's about making them so good they can solve problems themselves. It's about building a truly self-sufficient organization. Let's get even more specific. We're going to do a quick 3-point breakdown to show you just how different these two models really are. First up, what's the actual goal? Well, the standard model is all about compliance. Just follow the process. It trains your leaders to be really good at reporting on what's already happened. The independence model? Totally different. The goal is capability. It's about making your leaders genuinely smarter in strategy, in finance, even in emotional intelligence, so they can go out and create the future. Second, let's look at the mechanics. What are you actually tracking? The standard way usually has you tracking activity metrics, busy work. How many sales calls were made? How many things did we ship? The mastery approach, on the other hand, focuses on outcomes. It teaches your team to track unit economics so they know exactly where the business is truly making or losing money. Huge difference. And finally, the end game. This one is so critical. For a lot of these systems, the end game is, well, there is no end game. The whole model is designed so you need that consultant forever, for quarterly tune-ups. It's a crutch. The alternative has a very clear destination, flight-ready. It is a defined project to train your team, get the systems in place, and then hand you the keys. It's a flight plan, not a life sentence. So what do these two paths actually lead to over time? Let's visualize the long-term results of choosing dependence versus choosing freedom. The core idea here is simple, but it is so powerful. One path is like using a crutch. Yeah, you can get around, but you never actually get stronger. The other path is like going to the gym. It's hard work, no doubt, but you are actively building your organization's own muscle. And this chart just says it all. The standard framework often puts you in maintenance mode. Your capacity just flatlines. The independence approach, however, creates what we call capability velocity. It's a real, sustained increase in your team's ability to perform, and it keeps growing long after any consultant is gone. So the crucial point here is that this is not just about choosing a meeting format or a type of scorecard. This is a deep strategic choice about the kind of company you actually want to be for the long haul. When you choose this path of independence, you're not just buying a system. You are building real, tangible assets right into the DNA of your company. You're building leadership muscle, real organizational health, and the operational fortitude to handle literally anything that comes your way without having to pick up the phone and call for help. It really all boils down to this one powerful idea. Stop renting your operating system. Stop paying for something you should own. Stop borrowing strength that you should be building from within. And that leaves us with the final question, the one that you have to answer for your organization. After seeing the difference between renting and owning, between leaning on a crutch and building real muscle, are you ready to stop relying on somebody else's mechanic and finally build your own engine?